Hello, everybody. I and my buddy Joe English are sending our regards. Today, we would like to do some ACT English section test questions together. So, without further ado, let's share the PDF. Right. Um, Today, we're going to do a passage entitled "Paul Revere Williams and La Concha Motel." Architect Paul Revere Williams opened his firm in 1922, and his vision and willingness to experiment led to successful 50-year career. All right. Is it a no change? Lead to, led to, TOO, lead on. If we take a look at the verb before led to, we will find that Williams opened. So it is in the past. Since it's in the past, he is talking about some events in the past, so led to should be in the past. Best answer then is A, no change. Moving on to question number two. He helped create more than 3,000 buildings which varied in type as well as homes, blah, blah, blah. The writer is considering revising the underlined portion to the following accurate phrase, including hotels, government offices, and hospitals. If the writer were to make this revision, the essay would primarily gain. And instead of saying just varied buildings, he wants to specify what types of buildings, like hotels, government offices, hospitals, and so on. What would it gain? What would the message gain? Details about the total number? No. Information about the kinds of buildings that Williams helped create? Yes, that's it. But just let's read the other options. Visual description? No. Idea that Williams preferred designing hotels? No. So G should be the correct answer. Let's move now to number three. One of his most interesting designs were in Las Vegas. Designs, one of the designs where that doesn't agree. The verb doesn't agree with the subject here. So what should we say? No change is wrong. Have stood, no. And were built, no. Again, because where doesn't agree with one, the subject, one of his designs. So the best choice then is stood. Any verb in the past, so it would agree with any subject, regardless of being singular or plural. If we say one design stood, if we say 100 designs also stood. So D is the best answer. Okay, stood in Las Vegas, semicolon, the La Concha Motel. Okay, semicolon doesn't should not be used here, so no change is wrong. Vegas, semicolon, namely, comma, Vegas, dash, the La Concha Motel, or Vegas without anything. H is the best choice here because he wants to give an example or to specify what was that design or what was that building named. So either we use a dash or we use a colon. We don't have a colon here, so the best choice is H. Okay. Moving on to question number five. What does he say here? La Concha needed to stand out. Yeah, situated among larger Las Vegas hotels, the La Concha needed to stand out. No change. Yeah. Stand out meaning be something remarkable and so forth. And we notice that out is repeated in B, C, and D, but with longer sentences. Where it is now, no change is shorter, and it makes sense. As you know, on the ACT test, we should always opt for the shorter answer if it makes sense. So that's very easy. A is the best answer. Moving on to number six. Okay. He's talking about La Concha Hotel or motel that he designed in Las Vegas. And he said, with the arched roofs typical of Googie architecture, which is a kind of architecture, the lobby that Williams designed was meant to appear from a distance like a giant shell. So, the lobby that Williams designed was. Should we say that no change, or should we say it had a lobby designed by Williams and Williams designed a lobby that, or the design for Williams' lobby was? So here, it's better if we start with the subject of that clause, okay? So we should say Williams designed a lobby that. So he is talking about the motel and it says Williams designed a lobby that was meant to appear from a distance like a giant shell. If we read that, the rest of the sentence, it will make sense. So there is no need to use passive structure. There's no need to do subject verb inversion or anything unless there is a reason to do that. Without that reason, we should go with the normal uh, sentence order, starting with the subject and then the verb and then the complement. So H here is the best choice. All right. It was meant to appear from a distance like a giant shell. Okay. So from a distance here, um, is like a parenthetical. So to appear like a giant shell, this is the original statement, or this is the original clause. It was meant, or that lobby was meant to appear, comma, from a distance, comma, like a giant shell. Because from a distance here is like a parenthetical sentence. It's a prepositional phrase that is a parenthetical, non-essential. You can take it out without affecting the rest of the sentence. So the best choice is B. We should put from a distance in two commas, okay? And then we shouldn't put any comma after like, okay? Yes, so B is the best choice here. Moving on to 8. On three of the ones, Williams designed 28-foot high concrete arches. So on three of the ones, what ones? Here it is not clear what ones refers to. So no change is not the best choice, okay? Sides of the building, on three sides of the building, Williams designed, so that makes sense. Of those sides of them, no. So the best one that explains without any ambiguity what he means is G. So 8G. Okay, moving on to number 9 now. Yeah. So three sides of the building, 28-foot high concrete arches that jutted out over the sidewalks. So they jut out, or they jutted out. Should we say that, or should we say extended themselves out? The same meaning. Went and stuck out, same meaning. Stuck super far out. All these have more or less the same meaning, but jotted out does the job beautifully, and it's shorter. So it's shorter and it's correct. So we should choose it. So 9A, no choice is the best. No change is the best answer. Moving on to 10. Inside the lobby, which was a place for gathering, consisted of a large open space, blah, blah, blah. So we have lobby here, and then G, lobby was a large space that, lobby's interior, and then lobby. That one is quite repeated. If we have a word that is repeated in the four choices, and one is shorter and makes sense, then we should opt for that. So J is the best answer. There is no point in saying the lobby of the motel, for example, which was a place for gathering, because we know that the lobby is a place for gathering. So there's no need to repeat this one more time. So 10J, the best choice or the best answer is J. Moving on to number 11, as a social gathering place, all right, and included the registration um, desk. So, social gathering place, comma, and included the registration. Okay. So he's talking about again the lobby. He says the lobby consisted of a large open space that functioned as a social gathering place and included the registration. If we use a comma and one of the fanboys, then we should use a complete sentence or an independent clause after and. So included the registration desk is not a complete uh, independent clause, so no change is wrong. So we should just say, we should just opt for C, which says place and included. All right, a gathering place and included. So it should be part of one uh, original sentence or one big sentence or long sentence, which read, the lobby consisted of a large open space that functioned as a social gathering place and included the registration desk without using any other commas with and. So the best choice is C. Remember, if we have two independent clauses and we use a comma, then we should use one of the fanboys like and, or, but, no, nor, so, and so on. Here, if we say no change, we should have a complete and independent clause after and, comma and, which is not the case here. So the best way to answer that and to be grammatically correct is C. Okay, let's now move to number 12. Okay. Indeed, most of La Concha Motel was torn down in 2005. The famous shell-like lobby lives on. We have two sentences with contradictory meaning. So the motel was torn down, however, or but the famous shell-like lobby lives on, was not torn down. So the best way to express this contradiction, okay, is either by using although, which is G, or we could also say something like however or something which is not here. So the best choice is although. Indeed doesn't carry that meaning. So the best choice for 12 is although. Okay. How about number 13? We're talking about here, read from the beginning. Preservation group saved it from demolition, and in 2006, the lobby was moved across town in pieces. So that makes sense. 13A makes sense, no change. All right. Demolition and in 2006, comma, demolition and in, no, we don't say that, between two commas, demolition and in, comma, 2006, no. We should not separate the preposition and the date using comma, okay? Yes, so the best choice here is A, yes. In 2006 should be between two commas. We, okay, was moved to blah, blah, blah. Yeah. All right, now moving to number 14. He's saying where retired neon signs, yeah, reassembled, it became the visitor center of the Neon Museum, where retired neon signs are put on display. The famous neon sign of the cowboy named Vegas Vic was erected in 1951. So no change, or including the La Concha's original sign. Yeah, so that makes sense. We don't care about the famous neon sign of the cowboy, blah, blah, blah. That is irrelevant to our motel here. So including La Concha's original sign, G. He's talking about preserving the neon signs, the old neon signs, okay? They are put on display, including the La Concha's original sign that was originally used. So G is the best answer, okay? So now let's move on to the last question of that passage, okay? He says the writer wants to add the following sentence to the essay. Beneath each of the three arches was a glass wall with doors opening into the motel. This sentence would logically be placed at beneath each of the three arches was a glass wall. So we should find the place where he mentions the three arches. If we look at D here, yeah, although most of the concha was torn down, that doesn't talk about the three arches. If we go to C, Williams designed 28-foot high concrete arches that jutted over the sidewalks. If we continue here saying that each arch was, there was a, beneath that arch a glass door, that would make sense here because he's talking about the three arches. So the best choice is the one that includes C. So 15C is the best choice. Point C in paragraph 3. As usual, my tip for students sitting for the ACT coming tests should practice more at home and just near the official test that you will take, all right, like 1 week before it, you should start practicing while being timed at home to give yourself conditions very similar to the exam or the test conditions. And also don't worry if you don't know the answer of some of the questions. Just make any choice and keep on focusing on the other or the coming questions, because if you don't do that, you will lose both the ones that you don't know and the ones that you might have known if you could focus more. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.